Now, the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission has launched an audit into the systems, policies, procedures and practices in the pricing of pharmaceutical and non-pharmaceutical supplies in the public health sector. EACC says it is out to ensure that there is no element of overpricing, as this has an immediate effect on the ordinary Kenyan. The government is keen on sealing all corruption loopholes. A team of 5 has been selected to conduct this exercise after reports by Society for International Development (SID) and Transparency International Kenya indicated that certain supplies are procured at a very high cost, which translates to a high cost to consumers. The EACC will look into all agencies and institutions that deal with procurement of drugs and other medical supplies, which include Kenya Medical Supplies Authority.
The health sector is critical in determining the overall success of the health sector. It is also crucial in ensuring that the government gets value for money and thus safeguarding the public resources. In essence, it impacts on the affordability of medical supplies.
I ask each and every one of us to participate effectively with an open mind, to make sure we provide information to the review team which will allow them to come up with the recommendations which are implementable and which are best suited to our people.
And time for panelists to chime in on these local stories that we've just done, of course, also on that particular report from Kenya Power, saying that they report that actually they issued was an interim report. And of course, looking at EACC with their new invigorated, of course, vigor to try and stanch the flow of corruption in the country. And allow me to introduce our guest this morning. We have our resident analyst, Herman Manyora, who is also a lecturer at the University of Nairobi. Also, we do have with us this morning Mithika Linturi, who is a member of parliament from Igembe South. We have also with us Jakoyo Midiwo. He is the deputy minority leader in the National Assembly and also member of parliament from GEM. Also, we do have with us in studio Senator Kimani Wamatangi, who is the senator from Kiambu. Bwana Khalwale is away in Mombasa for the County Legislative Assembly. We continue with the discussion nonetheless. A very good morning to you, gentlemen. Morning. Thank you for joining us. Right, let's start with that particular report from Kenya Power, because it seems now the president really, as we've been given to understand, he's been given interim reports where he reads out, and then along the way things changes and people claim these are interim reports. This was also evident from the State of the Nation address, where also he read out that particular report from the Salaries and Remuneration Commission. And of course, we're given to understand that the particular report is an interim report. So we've had also pundits claiming that, why can't the president wait for the full report to be given out? Even with the EACC, remember when he was given that particular report, it was an interim report where they said some names were expunged, they were expunged from that particular report. Herman.
I think there is a small problem. I think the government is on a PR mode. When your intention is to play the PR card, sometimes you make very silly mistakes. Sometimes what you are doing is good, but because you intend to please people, then you make those kind of blunders. Because you want to be seen to have done something.
Yes.
Say, for example, about salaries, which I don't even agree with. You are going to talk about a report that is non-existent. Because we are told this SCRC, whatever they are called, are still in Naivasha, hold up, trying to come up with something. But because the government is aware of that, then you talk about it as if it's a report, yet it's being done. Look at the power thing. You are doing a good thing. Connecting people to power is a good thing. I may be hurt because I applied in 2015, up now I've not been given. But I'm just one individual. Other Kenyans are benefiting. It's good. But because the intention is more PR than substance, then you are going to say you have given 1 million people, and look at the ridiculous levels to which people go. You activate meters when they are still in the store, just to prove that you have connected 1 million extra people. You see? You give meters to people and they are calling they are non-vending. That means in that PR attempt, You have supplied meters to people who even don't have the capacity to load in even 200 shillings. You see, when you get that prepaid meter, it has some token. The lights can go on because there's some token, there's some credit inside. You are meant thereafter to top up. Then it becomes a vending meter. So some meters have been activated when they're in the stores. Some have been supplied to people. See, you are given and you are told, look here, we are in a hurry because we want to show we have given 1 million. Look for someone to fix for you. Others, you are given, yes, but you are the kind of fellow who cannot even afford food. You have not eaten for 1 week. And you are given that to prove that the government is giving people electricity. So it's a non-vending meter because for the last 6 months since you are given, when the last credit expired, imekaa pale umerudi kwa hiyo taa yako ya mafuta. So the government is doing good things, but they should not spoil the good they are doing by engaging in too much PR.
Too much PR? Yeah. All right, Mithika, Linturi, you think it is too much PR from the government, especially as we're getting up towards general election?
I believe not. And the reason is because I think most of the work that the Jubilee administration has done is never talked about. And when the president comes and talks and gives figures on how many people have been connected to power for the last 3 years since he took over the leadership of this country, it's not PR but telling people the truth. And you know, the truth depends, the truth is bitter because people have lived in a state of ignorance without knowing what is really happening around. You know, when people talk about, for example, when it talks about roads being done, the truth of the matter is, you know, when you look at Jubilee, very few people are involved in drumming up or in trying to tell the public the progress reports of governments, especially on implementation of certain projects. And if there are any, very few people. And many Kenyans, because this is never seen so often and because it is not done, people think that actually nothing has been happening. So I think it would be very unfair for Manyora to lean to the fact that the president is just doing a PR exercise when we are sure, for example, the issues he has talked about, what is PR? True to the one, there is power. The number of roads that are being conducted or constructed now in the country is unimaginable. They are big. For example, Meru is a beneficiary of around 8 new roads. So that is going to happen. It's happening. When we talk about, for example, the government coming in and chipping into paying fees for children in school that could not have afforded examination fees, it is true. So I think government now has started speaking and updating Kenyans on what it has done, and this, in my view, should not be taken as PR because it's a reality. But better get to know, and we have a responsibility as leaders to really give our scorecard to the citizen, and this is what is happening. And it will be more now because we have taken over the responsibility of telling Kenyans what is being done, and because Kenyans will be able to see. It was very difficult to try to explain when you talk about or something is because when it's in the pipeline. Now, since it's happening, people say, and you know, everybody was wondering when the president talks about and says we have connected this mama who has a kiosk somewhere. You know, if you are in doubt, why don't you send someone in that particular village and see whether actually that connection is there? That's the only way to prove things are happening, and not this blanket stories or condemnation of saying the state is not doing this when you are not giving facts and evidence.
All right, so regardless of the fact that maybe the numbers were fudged by the Kenya Power, but the reality on the ground is in the villages, right? They're well lit. There is power.
These guys are crazy, I hope after the show you will send him a tape of what he has just said. Because, you know, I know him to be a man of integrity. You know, people of Meru deserve him, but you can't defend. Even I've just read in the Standard, one MP from your area is telling Uhuru and Ruto not to go there to lecture people of promises that were never delivered. You know, that is the so-called stronghold. Now, you know, I've been have practical experience on what you are asking us to comment on. I have gone with the CS, who is my friend with my senator-to-be. We've been to game, and I have been to 2 houses in the village where KPLC people put those prepaid meters. In one house, the lady in whose house we went to commission the power, the lady was dying down sick. She could not go to Siaya, which is about less than 10 kilometers away, to seek medical. It's an old lady who lives alone. They went and put public funds there, and the lady doesn't have any, everybody, it's like everybody's dead in the home. Now, I had to get my people to take her to Siaya for treatment. Would that kind of person need a prepaid? It's not free. Then it got late. It has it comes with a socket to charge a mobile phone. She doesn't have a phone. So she can't even prepare even if she had money. Number 2, the next house, which is about 1 kilometer away we went to, it was there. The lady was very excited. But when she was asked to talk, she said, Mheshimiwa, can you build me a house? This house where they put electricity, I am being rained on. And my friend and myself, called Engineer Samopot, we built for her house. You know, mixed priorities. Kenyans need food on the table. Kenyans don't need to beg to live in their own country. This is what we are faced with. And unfortunately, I said here that some jobs really are not for boys. And boys, I don't mean youth. I just mean boyish thinking minds. You know, when my friend here talks about people's school fees, exam fees are being paid, he is not saying, as a rider, that the national bursary, which poor kids used to get, has been scrapped to pay for this exam fees. You know, so you are paying exam fees for people who can't go to school. So as we speak today, unless MPs slash CDF to pay bursaries, the national government, whose function this is not paying any bursaries to anybody. Understand? And then they come to parliament and brag and say, we are paying school fees. I mean we have scrapped exam fees. But what they are saying, and in the same breath, they have scrapped bursary that has helped Kenyans for decades and decades. So I want to plead with the Jubilee government that you can play all the PR, but Kenyans, really, Kenyans must not stay in the state where politicians think they're stupid. Because we are not stupid. August 8th is the most election we will take in this century. Because we must put back the train on the rail. This train, these people have anguished. We must lift it and put it back where Raila Kibaki government left it. Because since they left, everything is going down south. And I can tell you, Linturi has said it, that there is nobody in Jubilee to update Kenyans on anything.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's hear from Senator Wamatangi. Everything is going down south, but you can't take it lying down, would you?
What is going down south?
Everything.
He says everything.
You know, well, let's talk about it the way it is. You know, Debarl, to begin with, I want to excuse my friend Professor for some of the comments he made, because some of it may not necessarily really be just, you know, political speak, because he's not a politician. Maybe some I would excuse you, Prof, when you say that, because naturally you may not know some of them. For example, like when you talk about the pretenses of Jubilee, and that there's nothing that's happening that you're seeing. And then Linturi tried to tell you, for example, that maybe you don't know that mothers now enjoy free maternity. And I would excuse you, because probably, by looking at you, your past childbearing age. So maybe, and when you are told that kids are exempt now from paying school fees, yours went to school a long time ago, you have no other children.
They cannot relate.
So now you can't relate to these new realities. And so when you speak the way, I was avoiding to use the word because you're not ignorant, but you're only away, you're only off stage. So I mean, you just need to catch up so that you can comment on the issues with current information, because you're talking about yesterday, not today.
But he claims he's a victim of the same.
But you see, Professor is a professor in the university, and I don't know which class he lectures. It could be the adult education. Because he's speaking so abstract, like he's so uninformed on the realities of today, what is happening, that you would excuse him. But let's deal with the issue, especially on what we're talking about, Kenya Power. And what are you talking about, the issue? Talk to Kenyans. Don't talk to these gentlemen. Did you hear Jakoyo Midiwo? And I hope, my friend Jakoyo, I hope nobody in Kibera is listening to what you're saying. In your own strongholds of Kibera, when you try to draw a line, a pass mark line, that anybody below this line should not have power because they are either too poor, living too shabbily, living in a very bad place. And you dare ask, when they went to connect power to that woman, did they first see the house in which she's living for them to connect power? My friend, are you trying to tell this country, or even your voters or your people, that you need to be living in a stone-walled house, and that is in an urban suburb for you to enjoy the privilege of having power in your house? Are you saying that? When were you last in Kibera? In fact, what I wanted to ask you, when you go to hold those rallies in Kibera, okay, I understand sometimes I see you and some of your colleagues, including the big man, wearing sunglasses. I normally believe it is to shield yourself from the wind. But don't tell me you don't see. In Kibera itself, if you stand on the other side, you will see a lot of masts and areas where now those people in their own humble dwellings, they can be able to enjoy basic rights. Like access to power, they can live a decent life. Mm-hmm. And I mean, what we should do is comment and Debarl here among these guys. But I want to also urge you, when you're posing some of these questions, please try to frame the questions such that it is relative to the realities of some of these guys, like Jakoyo, like Professor. You know what they do. When you tell them about how to connect a meter and how it is uploaded, these guys have got strings of servants. So when did Jakoyo go to load charge time on a meter? He calls.
All right, thank you.
So my friend, when a meter is connected to those poor people, that person, you have to go activate that meter yourself, because you don't have a servant like you, and charge it, load it, then it starts counting, and that is how it becomes active. Some of these people, because hitherto the last 50 years, they have never enjoyed these services. That's why you find there would have to be some of those teething problems, but I say that the feel-good factor itself alone, the progress made indeed, and let's not go to the areas, let's speak on the issue of connecting people to power. Because the others we can talk about roads, about education, about health, but on that specific issue, the beneficiaries are the lowest of the low in this country. And so we can't play around with this.
All right, close on it.
Debarl, I must thank Wamatangi for educating me. Education is a lifelong thing. It never stops, even an old man like me. But I also want to educate him a bit, because as leaders, quite often you live in your own world. You don't live in this country. If you lived in this country, you will not answer the following questions, because I don't want you to answer. Last time I asked you, you talk of free maternity. I asked you maternity, and I wanted to be a nice man. I ask you not to answer because you'll spoil your name.
Please
Would you take your wife to deliver in Kiambu District Hospital? No, I didn't want you to answer. And the reason why I didn't want you to answer is because those people who respect you will begin having doubts because they know you will not.
My friend, listen.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Let me finish. Relax.
Would you take your daughter-in-law to Gedongori Hospital? The answer is no. So don't talk of free maternity When women who go there must carry a water, 20-liter jerrycan, when there is no, the sanitation is not there, when there is one nurse in the health center attending to everybody, including delivering, rushing between delivering that mother and going to attend to ordinary patients, don't talk of free maternity.
No.
Don't you ever talk about free education when none of you can take your children to a public school in this country. Please don't you ever, because Kenyans are going to get annoyed one day.
All right, thank you.
Look here, let me just finish. Let me just finish. You talk of electricity, and I'm telling you it is PR. Wamatangi. From February 2015, I hope Power are listening. Anybody who has applied for new installation, including Manyora here speaking, I applied in December 2015. From February 2016, Kenya Power has not been giving people quotations. Why? They fear if they give you quotation reading 350, they will be in trouble with the government, which wants people to believe electricity is 15,000. So from February 2016, Kenya Power has never given a quotation. I'm here as a living example. I've been in darkness of new installation, unless you are applying for over 8 kVA, which is 3-phase.
So that's 50. So
for
the 15,000, it has not been a reality.
Professor,
this is what we are calling PR.
He has
so when we talk of PR, we know what we are talking about.
Can I
Let's hear from Mithika.
Right of reply.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me.
It's PR, my friend.
Let me say to Professor. You know, Professor.
Because I want to pay for my electricity.
First, because you asked me questions and said don't answer.
You want to answer them?
And
you want to answer them?
I also want to ask you a
question. You want to answer them?
No, just a
Go
minute.
ahead and answer them.
Just a minute, my friend.
Go ahead, answer them.
No, you've used your time. So now listen.
Yes.
You told me not to answer.
Yeah. But
I also want you to ask you a question, and please don't answer. Have you been to any other part of this country, Professor? Have you been to any other part of this country other than your home and the lecture hall where you go to? Have you ever traveled to Wajir? Have you ever traveled to Masabit? Have you ever been to Lokichogio?
Do I answer?
My friend, I told you don't answer.
Okay.
Because you answer in the ignorance.
All right.
When you say that you do not realize that there are gains that Kenyans cannot compromise or give away made out of devolution, that now you can go to Turkana and go into a hospital and get screened for cancer, my friend. That a mother can now go, other than deliver under a tree, in Lokichogio, they can go to a hospital, my friend. Now, when you say you don't know those things, you know, you only confirm
Jakoyo,
one
please.
thing.
All right, briefly, we need to wind up on this. We need to go to
you what it should not have done to
Thank
you.
you.
Instead of enlightening you,
Let's hear from Jakoyo.
it has only made you alarmed.
I'm sorry to Barton. Let's hear from Jakoyo. Briefly, very briefly,
just
sir.
two things which are, we have not addressed in your on your original question. The first one, you know, this propensity of the president to come and treat the nation to fake facts. He came with a list in 2015 of purported people to be prosecuted for corruption. He since has left corruption to flow freely. In fact, if you look at the health issue, which is in the paper today, this gentleman called Muraguri, he's close to the presidency.
All right.
And he should have been treated to the same standards that the president declared in 2015.
All right.
Then look at the salaries issue, the issue of salaries which came.
We will discuss this. We will discuss this.
Because it's just answering your question. We will discuss
Yes.
But then salary and remuneration comes out and says, the commission says we have not spoken to the president. Now, you're talking maternity health, which the good professor is talking about. Health is a devolved function. And by the presidency claiming, 3 weeks ago, my worker, his wife was delivering, was taken to the local health center where it's supposed to be free. I ended up taking the girl to the next private hospital and paid 48,000 shillings.
All right, thank you.
What about those people who don't know me?
Thank you.
Or don't have money?
Hold on to that. We'll come back.